Okay.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining us today. So we are beginning with the Sri Damodarastakam this week. I'm sure most of us devotees must already be very familiar with this very beautiful prayer. But I also thought it would be nice for us to learn this as a group, maybe try to understand the meanings of a few words wherever we can. And to be honest, this will give me some practice. I only know the first and the last verses.
Yeah.
So this will be good practice. So, okay. This Damodarastakam was, I think it was composed by Satyavrata Muni, and I think it was spoken in the form of a dialogue between Devarshi Narada and
Satyavrata Muni.
Devarshi Narada and Shaunaka, I believe. I read this somewhere just
Oh,
now.
maybe Shaunak, yeah. Shaunakrish.
I think it was a conversation between them. It occurs in the Padma Purana.
He's the composer, but
So, yeah, Satyavrata Muni was a composer. Yeah.
Maybe it was delivered as a dialogue, or it came to be known after it was discussed as a dialogue between Devarshi Narada and Rishi. I just read this somewhere. I did not read it completely, but I do know that it occurs in one part of the Padma Purana. Very, very divine prayer. So let's begin. Let's look at the words first, and then we can proceed to learning the first verse. To the first verse of the Damodarastakam. Namami Ishwaram Satchidananda Rupam. So Namami meaning I bow down to the Supreme Lord Ishwara Satchit Ananda Rupam, whose form is the very essence of eternity, that is the infinite, the absolute truth, knowledge, and ultimate bliss, ultimate joy, Ananda. So Namami Ishwaram. So when you combine the two words, you pronounce it as Namami Ishwaram. The second line, Lasat Kundalam Gokule Bhrajamanam. So Kundala means earrings. So Lasat Kundalam means the Lord's earrings swing back and forth when the Lord moves, when he walks around, when he crawls, when he plays, and when he runs all over the place, his earrings also swing back and forth. So Lasat, that is what is meant by the words Lasat Kundalam. Kundalam meaning earrings. Gokule, of course, refers to the village of Gokula, where he manifested as the son of Nanda and Yashoda. Brajamanam means to manifest or to be present. So he who very magnificently, very wonderfully manifested himself in Gokula. The third line of the verse, Yashoda Bhiyolu Khalad Dhavamanam. So Yashoda, of course, Yashoda Mata, his mother Yashoda. The word bhiya meaning indicating fear. So he's running away from his mother because he's afraid that she is going to beat him up, because he knows that he has broken the pot of yogurt that his mother had been churning, and then he, on top of that, he stole the butter that she had left hanging. So, and he knows that he has been caught red-handed, so he's running away from her. So that is why the word bhiya. So in fear of his mother coming to catch him, he gets down. So ulukhala is that grinding mortar that used to be, of course, there were no mixers and grinders in those days. So there was just the grinding mortar. So they used to use the mortar to pound the rice, separate the rice from the husk, pound it to flour, and for all those things. So Krishna, of course, he was only a little child at that point. He was just a toddler. So because he wasn't tall enough to reach the pots that his mother used to keep hanging from the ceiling, he used one of the grinding mortars as a stool, and he stood on top of it so that he could reach the pots hanging from the ceiling using a stick. So, and when his mother caught him in the act, he very quickly got down from the grinding mortar on top of which he was standing, and then began running away from the spot. So dhava means to run. So dhava manam, ulu khalad dhava manam, got down from the ulukhala or the mortar and then began running. So that is what that line indicates. Yashoda bhiyolu khalad dhavamanam. He got down from the mortar and began running in fear of his mother, Yashoda, coming after him with a stick. And the next line, the last line, paramrishtam. So it means catching him from by the back. So catching hold of the back of his body and finally bringing him to a stop. So although Krishna was running very fast, Mother Yashoda, she ran even faster and she eventually caught up with him. So she caught him by the back of his body. Paramrishtam. The next word is atyantato. So it can be, if you look at the synonyms, it can be broken up into two. So ati, we know the word ati is very common in Hindi. So ati means to a great extent or very much. So the word atyam here also means the same, very much. The next two words, pratam, dritya. So that means chasing after him very quickly. So Krishna was fast, but Mother Yashoda, she was even faster. And so tatam, dritya, chasing after him very quickly or running after him very quickly. In the word kshana in Sanskrit means moment. So tat kshana, I don't know if you've heard or come across this phrase. Tat kshana means that very moment. So tat usually indicates like on the spot or immediately or very quickly. So that is why the word tatam in this context, it changes. It can be a little confusing. We may think that these individual words, they don't match what is actually in the verse, but in every language we have words changing their forms depending on the context in which they are used and in the manner in which they are used in sentences. So that's how it is, and with Sanskrit as well. And Sanskrit, of course, is such an ancient, such a complex language. But it's also very beautiful. That's what makes it so attractive. And so essentially that line, the word and the last word gopya indicates gopi, which in this context is Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda was also a gopi, wasn't she? So the word gopya indicates Mother Yashoda in this context. So essentially the last line means, so Mother Yashoda, she chased after Krishna very, very quickly. She ran faster than he did. And then eventually she caught up with him, caught him by the back of his body. And so she was finally able to bring him to a stop. So the verse essentially means to the Supreme Lord, who is the very essence, who is the very embodiment of eternal, permanent knowledge, truth, and joy or bliss, whose shark-shaped earrings. So now this is a very frequently used description of the Lord's kundalas or earrings. Makara kundala, you must have heard of the word makara occurring very frequently. Makara means shark. It's of course it falls within the fish category. So there's a very beautiful kirtana in it's in the Sanskrit language, I think, and it is taught to students of Carnatic vocal music, the South Indian style of traditional Indian classical music. And there is a line in that kirtana which says Makara Kundala Dhama Madana Gopalam. So it is a kirtana dedicated to Lord Vishnu, specifically the Lord at Tirupati. And this is one of the lines in that kirtana. So Makara meaning shark. So the Lord's earrings are usually described as having the shape of fish. And even if you notice, if you have seen a picture of Lord Panduranga, are you familiar with that form of the Lord?
Yeah.
Lord Vishnu or Lord Panduranga, whose main temple is in Maharashtra, in Bharat. So if you notice, the Lord's earrings in that, so the deity of Lord Panduranga in the temple has earrings in the shape of, literally in the shape of two fish. So even on the image of the Lord, and even when they put on the gold decorations, when they decorate the form of the Lord, the earrings are in the shape of a fish. So coming back to the verse, whose sharp-shaped earrings are swinging to and fro. So his earrings also move around when he walks and he runs. Who has very beautifully, very wonderfully manifested himself in the village of Gokula, who is running away in fear of his mother Yashoda, jumping down from the grinding mortar because he was caught in the act of breaking the yogurt pot and stealing butter, and who was eventually caught by his mother Yashoda, who ran faster than he did. To that Supreme Lord, Sri Damodara, I bow down my head very humbly. I offer my humble obeisance. Namami Ishwaram. So let's try learning the words one by one. I'll say the words. I'll break it up where I can. Let's repeat them as many times as it takes for us to get familiar with the words, and then we can try putting the sentences together. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wonderful. Hare Krishna. Namami
Namami
Ishwaram
Ishwaram
Satchidananda Rupam
Satchitananda Rupam
Namami Ishwaram
Namami Ishwaram
Satchidananda Rupam
Satchitananda Rupam
Lasat Kundalam Gokule Bhrajamanam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Bhrajamanam Yashoda Bhiyo lukhalad.
Piyo Lukhalad.
Dhavamanam.
Dhavamanam.
Yashoda.
Yashoda.
Bhiyo lukhalad.
Piyo Lukhalad.
Dhavamanam.
Dhavamanam.
Paramrishtam.
Paramrishtam.
Atyam. Atyantato.
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 Dhritya.
Dhritya.
Gopya.
Gopya.
Paramrishtam.
Paramrishtam.
Atyantato.
Atyantato.
Dhritya.
Dhritya.
Gopya.
Gopya.
Namami Ishwaram.
Namami Ishwaram.
Satchidanandarupam.
Satchitanandarupam.
Lasat Kundalam.
Lasat Kundalam.
Gokule.
Gokule.
Bhrajamanam.
Bhrajamanam.
Yashoda.
Yashoda.
Bhiyo lukhalad.
Piyo Lukhalad.
Dhavamanam.
Dhavamanam.
Paramrishtam.
Paramrishtam.
Atyantato.
Atyantato.
Dhritya Gopya.
Dhritya Gopya.
Okay. So, while learning, I know we split up the first word into two. So instead of Namami Ishwaram, we learned it so that we could learn it step by step. We pronounced it as Namami Ishwaram. But when you're singing it as a verse, when you are stringing the words together, it's perfectly all right to say it as one word. So Namami Shwaram. So just remember. Yeah, Namami Shwaram. So just remember the E sound in the middle. You just stretch it a little bit because it's the joining point of the two words. Namami Shwaram. So just stretch it a little bit. Make it a little longer. Okay. Namami Shwaram.
Namami Ishwaram.
Satchidanandarupam.
Satchitanandarupam.
Lasat Kundalam.
Lasat Kundalam.
Gokule.
Gokule.
Bhrajamanam.
Bhrajamanam.
Yashoda. Bhiyo lukhalad.
Piyo Lukhalad.
Dhavamanam.
Dhavamanam.
Paramrishtam.
Paramrishtam.
Atyantato.
Atyantato.
Dhritya Gopya.
Dhritya Gopya.
Okay, and would any of you like to give this a try?
Namami Shwaram Satchit Anandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam Yashoda Beolu Kala Davamanam Paramasam Atyanta Todutya Gopya.
Wow, that's great.
That's wonderful. Beautiful. Thank you, Shruti. Hare Krishna.
Shruti, you sing first the whole verse, like in the tune, then we try.
Okay, this tune is familiar. You must be familiar with this meter. It's a very familiar meter that occurs in a lot of stotras or songs.
Yeah.
So it goes like this. नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले भ्राजमानं यशोदाभियोलोकलाद्धावमानं परामृष्टमत्यन्ततो धृत्य गोप्या. So that is the meter in which this verse can be sung. So there is a specific term for this in Sanskrit. There is so much, I don't know how to describe it. I mean, on the face of it, to us, they seem words, but there a lot of technique goes into writing these verses, how to fit the words correctly into that meter, and how to fit those words correctly into that particular rhyming scheme. A lot of thought, a lot of work goes into composing these prayers. It's I mean, it's a skill, or it's a talent that can only be acquired by divine blessing. It's not something that comes easily. So I think it's a word for this in Sanskrit. So when I say meter in Sanskrit, it is called chanda. So chanda is the format or the rhyming scheme, if I may say so. So if you notice, Prabhuji, in the Vishnu Sahasranamam, when we chant the Vishnu Sahasranamam, at the beginning, where you have this particular section of the Sahasranamam which says, Asya Shri Vishnur Divya Sahasranama Stotra Mahamantrasya Shri Veda Vyaso Bhagavan Rishihi Anushtup Chandaha. If you have,
Right.
if you can recall those words.
Yeah, yeah.
So that means the core of the Vishnu Sahasranama Stotram has been composed in the Anushtup format or the Anushtup meter. So that is a very common meter. For example, even all the verses of the Bhagavad Gita, of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, they are all in the Anushtup meter.
Right, right.
So this, I think, this Damodarastakam is in a meter called the Bhujanga Prayata meter. So I haven't studied this in depth, what this meter is and why it is used. But the word Bhujanga Prayata literally means the movement of a snake.
Oh, wow.
So Bhujanga means snake, and Prayata means the movement or the trajectory that a snake follows, how a snake slithers.
Right.
So this Ashtakam, along with many other stotras, it's composed in the Bhujanga Prayata meter. So Kamakshi Mataji or Kaushala Mataji or Aruna Mataji, any of you, would you like to give these words
I'll
a
have
try?
a go. I'll have a go, yeah.
Yeah, sure, please.
Namam Ishwaram Satchit Anandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam Yashodabiyolokalam Ladyavamanam Parakshana Atyanto Dritya Gopya.
Nice. Would you want to repeat the last line? Paramrishtam.
Parashramritya.
No. Paramrishtam.
Paramrushtyam.
Very good. Atyantato.
Atyantato.
Drutya Gopya.
Drutya Gopya.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, I'll try, Shruti.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, please.
Namami Ishwaram Sachitanandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Braja Manam Yashodabhyo Lukalada Dhava Manam
Dhavamanam.
Dhavamanam Paramarastam Atyanto Drutya Gopya
Paramrishtam.
Paramristam Atyanto Drutya Gopya
Atyantato.
Atyantato
Drutya Gopya.
Drutya Gopya.
Yes. Wonderful. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. The tune I want to learn, Shruti, from you, the tune only.
I'll be more than happy.
If you can, they record it for us like you used to do for us, for the Bhagavad Gita shlokas.
Yes,
Can you
of
do
course.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that. I can do that. No problem.
Thank you. Then I'll learn it. Then we will sing when we do the prayer for the Damodara month.
Yes, yes, of course.
Thank
So-
you, Shruti.
Oh, no problem. It's always a blessing to do such activities. This tune, I like this tune very much, but to be honest, every time I sing, it turns out differently. But it's a beautiful tune. I like it very much.
Mhm.
Right. Yes. So Aruna Mataji, would you like to try? Aruna Mataji, would you like to try?
I'm sorry, I won't be able to.
No, that's okay. That's okay. No problem. Okay. We do have some more time, so I think we can do one more verse.
Yes, it's good.
So yeah, we did that with the Bala Mukundashtakam as well, 2 verses a week. So I
Yeah.
think there was a 1 week gap in between, so it took us 5 weeks instead of 4. But yeah, so let's do the second one. So the first line of the second verse, Rudantam Muhur Netra Yugmam Mrajantam. So Rudantam means crying. Muhur, the word muhu means again and again or repeatedly. Netra Yugmam. So Yugala or Yugmam indicates 2 or a pair. So obviously the Lord has like 2 eyes, right? So Netra meaning eyes. So Netra Yugmam means both of his eyes. Mrijantam means to rub. So on being caught by his mother, he began to rub his eye. He began to cry and rub his eyes with his 2 little hands. And the next line, Karambhoja Yugmena Satanka Netram. So Kara meaning hands, Ambhoja indicating lotus, meaning lotus. So Karambhoja means lotus-like hands. Yugmena, again it indicates both, 2, the number 2. So both his hands, with his 2 lotus-like hands. Satanka Netram. So the word Satanka can be broken up, can be interpreted as Sa Atanka. So Atanka meaning fear, or in a state of fear. So Sa Atanka means he was in a state of fear. He was afraid what his mother was up to. He did not know what his mother would do now that he had been caught. So Satanka Netram meaning with his eyes showing fear towards his mother. So fearful eyes. So the third line, Muhu Shwasakampa Trirekhanka Kantha. So Shwasa meaning breathing. Kampa means not steady. So very shaky. So his breath was very shaky and he was taking very quick breaths because he had been running, you see. And on top of that, he was scared. He was afraid. So his breathing came very quickly, very short, very quick breaths. And Trirekhanka. So 3 meaning the number 3, Rekha meaning line, and Kantha meaning neck or throat. So Trirekhanka Kantha meaning his neck or his throat was marked with 3 lines like the stripes down the length of a conch shell. So Trirekhanka Kantha. The last line, Sthita Graiva. So Griva again meaning neck. So the word Graiva meaning what is worn around the neck. So what does the Lord wear around his neck? He wears necklaces. He has a variety of neck ornaments. He wears a flower garland. Sthita means to be situated or to be located. So it's if you notice, if you look at the Roman text or the English text of the verse, at the end of the word Kantha, there is a hyphen before you move on to the first word of the next line, which is Thita. So that indicates that technically you're supposed to read those 2 words in continuity. So rather than stopping or splitting there, so instead of saying Moho Shwasa Kampa Trirekhanka Kantha, instead of pausing and then saying Sthita Graiva Damodaram, you're supposed to say Trirekhanka Kantha Sthita. So Kantha Sthita. So obviously the ornaments are not hanging in the air, they are hanging around the Lord's neck. That is where they are situated. So Kantha Sthita, situated or hanging around the Lord's neck or Kantha. Sthita Graiva. Griva again meaning neck. So Graiva means around the neck. Damodaram, of course, Dama meaning rope, Udara meaning the Lord's belly or the Lord's stomach. So that is where Mother Yashoda tied him around the mortar using a rope. So Dama plus Udaram becoming Damodaram. That is why the Lord got the name Damodara, because he was bound to the mortar by his mother Yashoda with a rope around his belly. Bhakti Baddham. That's such a beautiful use of the word. So Baddha, Bhakti, of course, meaning devotion. And Baddham means to be bound or to be tied to. So the Lord, although it appeared that he had been bound to the mortar by the rope, what really bound him to the mortar or what really stopped him there was his mother's love, his mother's pure devotion. That was what bound him. And otherwise, how can an ordinary rope bind the master of the universe? He cannot do that. So it's only pure love and devotion could do that. And that's what made this a miracle. The master, the Lord of the universe, who cannot be bound by anything, who has no beginning, no end, yet he appeared to be bound to the mortar by the simple yet very deep, very profound love of his mother, Yashoda. So the translation. So Krishna, he has finally realized his mother has caught up to him, and he's seen the stick in his mother's hand, so he's afraid. His eyes are filled with fear. He's crying and he's rubbing his eyes again and again with his 2 little lotus-like hands. He has a necklace of pearls around his neck. His neck is marked with 3 lines like a conch shell, but even his whole body, including his neck, he's shaking because he is afraid. He is constantly crying and his breathing is very short and very quick. To that, Lord Sri Damodara, whose belly or whose body is bound not by ropes, but due to his mother's pure love and devotion, to that Lord Sri Damodara, I offer my humble obeisances. So let's try saying the words one by one. Rudantam,
Rudanta.
Rudantam,
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 Muhur,
Muhur,
Netra Yugmam,
Netra Yugmam,
Mrijantam,
Mirjantam,
Rudantam,
Rudantam.
Muhur,
Muhur,
Netra Yugmam,
Netra Yugmam,
Mrijantam,
Mirjantam,
Karambhoja,
Karambhoja,
Yugmena,
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 Satanka,
Satanka,
Netram,
Netram,
Karambhoja,
Karambhoja,
Yugmena,
Yugmena,
Satanka,
Satanka,
Netram,
Netram,
Muhu Shwasa,
Muhu Swasa,
Kampa,
Kampa,
Trirekhanka,
Trilekhanga,
Kantha,
Kantha,
Muhu Shwasa Kampa,
Muhu Swasa Kampa,
Trirekhanka,
Trilekhanga,
Kantha,
Kantha,
Sthita,
Sthita,
Graiva,
Grevam,
Damodaram,
Damodaram,
Bhakti,
Bhakti,
Baddham,
Baddham,
Sthita Graiva,
Sthita Greva,
Damodaram,
Damodaram,
Bhakti Baddham,
Bhakti Baddham,
Rudantam,
Rudantam,
Muhur Netra Yugmam,
Muhur Netra Yugmam,
Mrijantam,
Mirjantam,
Karambhoja,
Karambhoja,
Yugmena,
Yugmena,
Satanka Netram,
Satanka Netram,
Muhu Shwasakampa,
Muhu Swasakampa,
Trirekhanka,
Trilekhanga,
Kantha,
Kantha,
Sthita Graiva,
Sthita Greva,
Damodaram,
Damodaram,
Bhakti Baddham,
Bhakti Vaddham,
Rudantam,
Rudan,
Muhur Netra Yugmam,
Muhur Netra Yugmam,
Mrijantam,
Mirjantam,
Karambhoja,
Karambhoja,
Yugmena,
Yugmena,
Satanka,
Satanka,
Netram,
Netram,
Muhu Shwasakampa,
Muhu Swasakampa,
Trirekhanka,
Trilekhanga,
Kantha,
Kantha,
Sthita Graivam,
Sthita Grevam,
Damodaram,
Damodaram,
Bhakti Baddham,
Bhakti Baddham.
Bhaktibadham.
Okay, would you like to try this first?
Yeah. Rudantam muhuneta yupamachandam karamboja yumena satankanitam muhusasakam patrire kankakanta stita graham damodaram bhaktibadam.
Wonderful. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Mhm.
Okay, would like to try next?
Oh, I'll try.
Okay.
Rudam mahunetram yugam bhujantam karamboja yugmenam satra netram mahusvashakam tri kantham Sitadgreva Damodaram Bhakti Bandham. It's a lot of mistakes there. Sorry.
No problem, no problem. We can do it again. Rudantam,
Rudantam
Dantam.
Muhur Netra Yugmam,
Mohor Netra Yugmam.
Mrijantam,
Mrujantam
Mrijantam.
Karambhoja,
Karamboja.
Yugmena,
Yugmena.
Satanka,
Satanka.
Netram,
Netram.
Muhu Shwasakampa,
Muho Swasakampa.
Trirekhanka,
Trirekhanka.
Kantha,
Kantha.
Sthita Graivam,
Sitita Grevam.
Damodaram,
Damodaram.
Bhakti Baddham.
Bhakti Baddham.
Okay, Kamakshi Mataji, would you like to try again?
Okay. Rudam Mahu Netra Yugmam Jantam Karamboja Yugamena Satanang Netram Mahu Seva Kampatrikanka Kantha Sita Gravamam Damodaram Bhakti Bandham.
Okay.
Lot of
I think
mistakes.
you just need to repeat it a few more times. Like practice it as whenever you have the time. It'll come, no problem.
Yeah, I think I have learned it over the years, but I have mispronounced it, so I think it's still in my head. So I have
No,
to,
if you're in a way that's, I mean, it's good that you're already familiar with it. So the more you listen to it, the more you go over the words again and again, the more familiar you will be with them. No
thank
problem. That'll you'll get it. Everything comes with practice. No one gets it right the first time. We all
Thank
make mistakes.
Haribo.
Hari bol, Hare Krishna. Okay, I think we can stop here for today and we can continue next time.